My name is Thomas Wiley. I'm from the DG for Development and Cooperation at European Commission headquarters in Brussels. And as France said, we're responsible for the overall management of the Switch Asia program, so the design of the program and also the running of the calls for proposals. Although the management of the individual projects is in most cases entrusted to delegations in the country where the project is based. So what I'd like to do now is very briefly recap on what we've got so far under Switch Asia, talk a little bit about what we're planning for the coming years, 2011 to 2013, talk a little bit about what we might have in mind even after that, in the period from 2014 onwards, and talk a little bit also about our expectations from this event. So if I can find the page down button, is it the down arrow? Yes. Okay, 1 out of 1 for me so far on the IT front. What have we got already? Well, you know this because it's on the big banner here produced by the network facility. We have 30 ongoing grant projects, 15 of which we contracted from the 2007 call for proposals and another 15 from the 2008 call for proposals. We intend to add to those. We are just completing the latest Switch Asia call for proposals. That is, we've finished evaluating the proposals and contracts are now being prepared and signed by delegations and by the successful applicants. So by the end of this year, we should have another, I think it's 17 projects up and running. And as soon as those contracts are signed, we will give information to the networking facility so that they can update their website accordingly, and you can see at a glance who is doing what and where, and you can find out how to get in touch with those people. In addition to the grant projects, we have the Switch networking facility. Certainly all of the ongoing projects will be very familiar with that now. The networking facility exists to help projects interact with each other, to help them to communicate their results and achievements to the rest of the world. They organize events for us, such as this one. They maintain a very comprehensive and up-to-date website that I hope you all visit regularly. Certainly it's a regular port of call for me to find out at a glance what is going on. The Switch networking facility was established towards the end of 2008, and that is implemented for us by Wuppertal Center for Sustainable Consumption and Production. Another ongoing part of the Switch program is our policy support component. This was established in 2010. There are national actions in 4 Asian countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand. And there will be representatives from all these countries at our events this week. So the funding for those national components is managed by the countries themselves, together with the EU delegation in that country. Each government is trying to implement some national plan connected with sustainable consumption and production, and the resources provided by the EU allow them to bring in additional specialist expertise to help them to get that done. Additionally, under Switch Policy Support Component, there is a regional component implemented for us by United Nations Environment Programme, which aims to keep all of the countries in the region fully informed about developments in sustainable consumption and production, and help them to become involved in the parts of that action that they are ready to be involved with. And our colleague Stefanos Fotio will tell us much more about that later in the meeting. So these are the currently existing switch commitments, and the EU funding for these parts of the programme comes to a total of 90 million euros. Now, if you look on this banner behind me, you'll see that we boast about 150 million euros. So if your subtraction is up to the job, you will realize that we still need to commit another 60 million euros, which we plan to do, and indeed, at the moment, it looks as though we might even sneak up to 152 million euros by the time we're done in 2013. So for 2011, we have already prepared a financing decision that should be approved by the European Commission next month in November. This is a new commitment of 31 million euros. Most of it will be implemented via another call for proposals, and we will launch that certainly before the end of the year, and probably at the end of November or beginning of December. For 2012, we are already working on the design of a new commitment, which will have two elements. Firstly, we need new funding for the Switch networking facility. The current network facility contract expires, I think, in 2013. So if we want to have a networking facility to support the new generation of Switch projects during their lifetime, then we need to commit new funding for that. And we'll have to organize a new tender procedure to find an implementing body. Additionally, we hope to commit funding for another call for proposals, which will be a bit more closely focused this time, a little bit less broad in the type of project that we're looking for. And we want to concentrate attention on these issues of access to finance, which are the discussion of one of our sessions in this event. I think it's one of the sessions scheduled for tomorrow. Then 2013 will see our final commitment of funds for Switch Asia, where we want to address the issues of wider replication of successful Switch results achieved until now, and additionally the point of additional policy uptake based on the successful examples provided by projects. So that's something where we're already thinking about ways in which we might implement it, and certainly the results of our discussions at this event will be helpful to us in that thinking process. Now, the reason that we go up to and including the year 2013 is that the budget of the European Union is designed in 7-year cycles. So we're currently dealing with the budget plans for the years 2007 to 2013. And then for years from 2014 onwards, we go on to another completely new budget cycle, which will have new regulations that underlie it and new programming documents that indicate the ways in which we are permitted and instructed to spend the money. Now, with a view to this future period of EU activity, the European Commission has just published a document about development policy in the future, It's called Increasing the Impact of EU Development Policy and Agenda for Change. And that has been presented to the European Union governing bodies and published on the 13th of October. So it is relatively hot on the presses, and it's not too long, actually. It's only 12 pages, the PDF document, so it's a document that you can read through from the beginning to the end, and it's well worth doing so. So look it up on our website and browse through it, because that announces what will be the top-level priorities for EU development policy in the future. By a complete coincidence, it was published on my birthday. I don't know if that's an auspicious omen for the continuation of Switch-like activities, but let's hope so. But even if not, it's a document that is worth reading. The document stresses that development cooperation will continue to be a key European Union priority, and it will be focused on reducing poverty and achieving Millennium Development Goals, which is indeed, that's been our overall target also in the past. It identifies a couple of particular areas that we're going to concentrate on: human rights, democracy, and other key elements of good governance, and also inclusive and sustainable growth for human development. And I'd like to read out just one paragraph from the document under this heading, Inclusive and Sustainable Growth for Human Development. Development is not sustainable if it damages the environment, biodiversity, and natural resources, and increases the exposure and vulnerability to natural disasters. EU development policy should promote a green economy that can generate growth, create jobs, and help reduce poverty by valuing and investing in natural capital, including through supporting market opportunities for cleaner technologies, energy and resource efficiency, low carbon development, while stimulating innovation, the use of ICT, and reducing unsustainable use of natural resources. It should also contribute to improving the resilience of developing countries to the consequences of climate change. So it's clear from that that green economy is going to be an important theme in future development cooperation. So a successor program of some sort to Switch Asia is certainly likely to be envisaged, although of course it may not take exactly the same form as Switch has done. Now, the last bullet point on the slide, differentiated development partnerships. This refers to a part of the document which states that in the future, EU development support will be more narrowly targeted from a geographical point of view at poorer countries. Many countries with which we've worked together in the past on development cooperation have very successfully grown their economies, have very successfully developed in every sense, and it's thought more appropriate in the future to focus the support on the countries that need it most, to maximize the effectiveness and the value for money. So what are we looking for from this event? This event is intended as a forum where we can all share knowledge and experiences about the sustainability of the results that we're achieving in Switch Asia, about how best to communicate those results and achievements, how to make them visible to other people who might be able to copy them and replicate them, how to make them visible to policymakers and taxpayers who ultimately pay for these programs to happen. We want to talk about how to enable replication of the successful results, and how to stimulate a wider policy uptake so that in the future we reach not just the low-hanging fruit that are accessible without significant policy change, but also so that policies can be changed where it's appropriate and where it's demonstrated to be effective to ensure a wider uptake and a bigger impact. We're hoping to generate ideas that will be useful for the design of both present and future programs. And we're looking to build up working relationships and friendships between people who are involved in our program. Now, as is the tradition at these events, the networking facility has worked hard to propose a program that will maximize active participation by all the participants, and that will offer a variety of different methods of discussion, different methods of interaction. So we are expecting active participation from all the participants. You're expected to work hard at the event, but you're also strongly encouraged to enjoy the event as well. In addition to the formal program of discussions, we have also scheduled lunches and dinner, which in part are a crafty attempt to ensure that the discussions go on outside the timetable of the formal presentations. But it's also intended to be an opportunity to relax, to enjoy yourself, and to actually build up human relationships as well as working relationships with other people who have common interests to yourself. So that's what we are planning for the next day or two, and we shall perhaps revisit these points at the end of the event to see where we've got to.